Welcome and thanks for joining me. My name is Mike Hamilton, founder of Trade the Easy Way, and I'm just going to share with you one of my favorite charts of the week ahead, or in fact the month ahead, as we get into the end of October and into November. We have had, let me get my pen, a really nice move, a couple of waves up here in the early part of the year from February into June. And all we've done here is just drift back into support and then waving up. So I'm seeing this as, a general sort of pullback into what was a very nice move. And we already in the back end of last week we've had decent push up from something around 147 into close to 149. Okay, so the last time we had a push like this, we even just gapped up and then ran. So I'm not suggesting we can do that for the moment. All I am suggesting is it's a clean chart. And the cleaner the chart, the more likely it is to have follow through and react technically to the sort of technical trading that you and I are trying to do. So what's the best way of trading this? What's the best way of getting into this? Well, if I fib this last move from April to June, you can see that these areas here have dipped into the bottom of the fib zone, and at the moment we are just above the top of the fib zone. So I would look for a dip under 800. We're 850 now. In fact, we just opened, literally just the Sunday as open as I'm producing this video. I would love to see a pullback into here and then buy with a stop under these areas here to see if we can start to reach out for at least 150 and potentially higher. 150 is obviously going to be, markets love round numbers. So 150 is going to be a struggle, but we touched it 1, 2 times up here. So a third time we would potentially come up here, maybe pull back again to 149 and potentially break through. I would see that as 3 and through. Every time you touch a big number or a big moving average, every time you touch it, it gets slightly weaker. So we've already been as high as 150.74, not massively higher than 150, I admit, but I think that is doable. If we look at the trend line cutting across, then that is pointing towards 149.50. So I'm just going to be patient and try and get a decent pullback into this area here, and then see if we can jump higher. If you look at the indicators, I've got here just a basic MACD. It's default MACD. I haven't done anything to it. So we are across above the midline with a couple of little histogram highs up here. Plenty of scope here on the crossovers. And back in May this year, we got really up high here. So I'm liking it, and I will just be, like I said, be patient for a dip into the low here. Now, if you are a professional trader, you've got to look at the other side of this trade. There's always two sides of a trade. If that's the trend line resistance that we hit on Friday. If we close under 800, it could be that we are in for this to roll over. We've had some waves down here, so poking our head up high up here has also generated some selling. Why is this different? It's different because this is such a positive close, and we've got the MACD in our favour. I just like the way the MACD is poking up, and I think overall I think there is plenty of scope. And I think also the fact that there is a lot of positive data coming out of Europe, and I don't think these charts really reflect just how much positive data has been coming out of Europe. Europe has including some of the weaker areas, has had very good jobs data, very good growth levels. Inflation is coming through, and I think it's about to come through a heck of a lot faster as we get into the back into the year and into next year. All right, so we're trading technicals, not fundamentals, but the chart pattern is clean. We've already had a nice impulsive move up here in the early part of the year, and I think this is just getting going. So close above 150, and then we could potentially be off to the races over a period of time. Hope that helps. Keep your eyes peeled for an event I'm about to announce. In fact, I'll just give you a little run-in for that now. I'm going to be talking about the next crash. So here we have the Nasdaq on a daily chart grinding higher, very slow move up here. We drop quite hard, and this is typical. We fall down a lift and then just grind up slowly on an escalator. Fall down a cliff, grind up on an escalator. So if this is going to sell, and we are divergent up here, we are making new highs up here with a potentially lower high up here. So I think we're at least going to have a pullback sometime soon, and that before if this is very, very bullish, we're going to come into the bottom of this little flute pattern, this funnel pattern, and then potentially break up quite impulsively. So short term, I'm not looking for a crash, I'm looking for a pullback. Where I am looking for a crash is into next year. I think if we get an impulsive move up here, I think there's a lot of fundamentals coming together and a lot of technicals that are going to come together in next year that will really see this market correct quite rapidly. And of course, getting on the short, if you're able to get on the short side of a good hard falling market, you can really make your money very, very quickly. For those of you who perhaps haven't been trading that long, you haven't experienced any bear markets, but because this is just any dip here has just got bought. At the moment, we're getting very shallow dips. This one here into July was quite nice, but they're relatively shallow. So when we do finally get a correction, the correction is surely going to come, then it's going to be quite hard. Now we have actually got a sell signal in this DAX. We had a new high in this little run. This is one of my favourite sell signals. New high in the run, and then a very, very narrow close the next day. Obviously, if that was a much better engulfing bar, it will be like here. New high in the run, immediate close below, and you get the drop. We got a marginal close below, so at the moment we're drifting lower. Okay, but when this market does go, I think it will fall quite hard. Now this is the Nasdaq. The reason why I'm showing the Nasdaq is because where the Nasdaq goes, the rest of the market follows. Now at the moment, we've had a sell signal in the Nasdaq. This Dow is much stronger. A few decent bars here, a little grind higher, a little drop, and then whack. We get high. 23,500 is an area I think we can reach out to in the Dow. Look how extended we are. Look how divergent. Here's a divergence here. Here's a high histogram. We're making new highs up here, and this histogram is struggling to get back to that high. So that is a potential indicator divergence, which could suggest either this has got more energy before this histogram keeps climbing higher and before this turns, or we are already potentially getting exhausted. Okay, so I will come back to you with more details on that, but in the meantime, just watch out for this EuroCAD. You can see here on a very small time frame, we've actually gapped down. So in the trading room this week, I'll be talking about how to handle that. In the meantime, yeah, just look out for these pullbacks, and let's see if we get some decent moves in the coming week. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned. Watch out for the next report.